Yes, soundproofing. It is indeed a big scam. Well, it can be for some people if you get the wrong information, if you use the wrong type of material, or if you get stuck using a material that simply doesn't work. That will make you feel that the whole soundproofing industry is quite the scam. Now, in this video, what I'll talk about is I'll let you know some of the products that you should completely avoid. They're expensive and they do not work. That's the biggest thing. At least if you paid a lot of money for a product that does work, fine. I would recommend it. Depending on what your budget is, it might be the best option for you, but not in this video. In this video, it'll be mostly stuff that, well, no, it'll be all stuff that you should just not use. Save your money, do something else. First one, if you go around and somebody tells you, use soundproofing paint. Yes, they do have something called soundproofing paint. They also call it sound deadening paint. If they recommend you to use that, I would kindly say no, because one, the paint costs a lot of money. It's usually between $50 and $75 a gallon. You have to add 3 coats onto the wall, and it is thick, but is it going to actually block the noise from one room to the other? It will not do much of anything, especially to satisfy you after paying hundreds of dollars for gallons and gallons of soundproofing or sound deadening paint. Now you might be wondering, what is the difference between soundproofing and sound deadening? Well, soundproofing is if I want to block the noise. So you want to add a mask, you want to block, you want to stop those sound waves from going from one room to the other. Sound deadening is when you use something like acoustic foams or acoustic panels to deaden the sound, to make the room sound better, but it's not really a noise blocker. It's not going to stop the noise from going from one room to the other. The only place where this is good is if there's a lot of echo or you want to optimize the sound for what you're doing. If you're podcasting, if you're watching a movie in your home theater, that is what it's for. And that brings me to my second one. Second scam is acoustic foams and acoustic panels, because the reason why is you go on a lot of websites and even some YouTube videos, how to soundproof a room for $20, let's say. And I've talked about this one in previous videos. They say that if you add a bunch of acoustic foam onto the wall, it will essentially soundproof the wall, and that is not the case. Especially if the person on the other side of the wall is the one making the noise, that noise is not being absorbed by your acoustic foam. Your noise, if you're making a lot of noise, it might absorb it a little bit, but it's not going to decrease the amount of decibels that goes from your room to their room. So that is kind of the scam. You're using this product for the wrong application. And if you have a home theater or a recording studio, you need to know where to install these and how to do it right, and actually not place too many because you don't want it to be too deadened. The video right there will show you exactly how to do it and how to do it properly. The next soundproofing scam is when you have products and all of these products are saying sound deadening, soundproofing, noise blocking. Those terms on a product, all it does is it jacks the price. They might have changed a little bit of the materials, but usually most of the times you can find materials on the same shelf that doesn't have the word soundproofing or sound deadening, and it works just as well, if not better. So essentially, if you go into the hardware store, just know that if you buy something called, let's say, acoustical sealant, and you can get it at a good price, that is what I would recommend, because it's sort of like caulking, and what you do with that is you seal gaps and cracks around doors and windows. It acts like caulking, but it doesn't crack over time where noise will come through the cracks. Now, acoustical sealant can be between $20 and $30 a tube. But sometimes if you can find them cheaper, it is worth getting that. However, you can also buy just silicone caulking that also stays rubbery over time at a fraction of the price and essentially does the same thing. Now, the other soundproofing scam is if you hire somebody and they tell you to just add insulation in between the wall, that is not going to soundproof the wall as well as you might think. Insulation is actually not a soundproofing product. Even if you can buy something called Rockwell Safe and Sound, it's not really considered soundproofing. It is a sound deadening material that you're adding in the wall in that chamber so it doesn't echo. So it does make a difference that way. But you can also go with just your typical regular pink insulation, and that does a good job as well. But that's more of an add-on. It's not all you need to soundproof the wall, and that is some information that a lot of people tell me that my contractor told me that I can just add some insulation, change from the pink to the rock wool, and that will be enough to soundproof the wall. So the way to soundproof that wall is to leave it the way it is and add some drywall, an extra layer of drywall on top of the one that you have. You can add something like a 5/8 of an inch layer of drywall, which is thicker than your 1/2 inch, which is probably what you already have on your wall. And that will be enough to stop a lot more noise than just adding insulation. And if you want to go a step further, you can add something in between the drywall and the wall. You can add something called mass-loaded vinyl, which is a sound deadening rubber type material. It's heavy and it helps in sound blocking and absorbing material. So if you have a lot of noise going from one room to the other, adding an extra layer of drywall, some mass-loaded vinyl in between, that will usually be enough to mitigate it. You will still hear it, but it will at least mitigate it to a point where it's enough for you. Just add mass, don't rip out the wall. You'll save money and you'll be happier with the results. And the biggest thing that I hear that people feel that they've been scammed out of their money for soundproofing that didn't work at all is because of the different types of soundproofing for the different types of job. So if you hire somebody that doesn't know much about soundproofing, then you might be out of luck. But most of the time, you can just watch one of my videos and tell your contractor, okay, this is what I want to get done, this is the material that I need, and they'll understand, they'll do it for you. So there's no problem there. However, some people will get the job done and get absolutely no result. The reason why is, let's say you're soundproofing for footstep noise. I actually made a video 1 week ago about footstep noise. So where I'm going with this is, let's say you wanted to soundproof footstep noise and the only thing that the contractor did was add mass onto the ceiling. That extra mass is not going to stop that footstep noise. The only thing that mass is going to help is the amount of airborne noise. People talking, a TV going without too much bass, but that bass effect, that lower vibrations, the footsteps, it is going to go right through from the floor right into the ceiling and you're going to hear it. So if you did pay several $100s to get an extra layer of drywall installed on your ceiling and it was for footstep noise and not for people talking, if it was for people talking, then you probably got good results. But if it was for footstep noise, what you need to do is add something called a resilient channel, something that separates the ceiling and the floor joist. And that's the main reason why people feel scammed, is the soundproofing did not work. The reason why the soundproofing did not work is, yes, you used the right material, but you used it for the wrong project. That is the problem. And it comes with inexperienced contractors that basically makes you feel like you've been scammed out of your money. If you've been scammed out of your money, or you feel that you've hired somebody or you've done some DIY projects that did not work at all, leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your stories and respond and maybe make a video out of it, who knows. And now you're free to go watch that video about footstep noise right there. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, assuming that you subscribed, of course.